Disowned by text. A tale of boundaries and liberation during my lunch break at work. I was sifting through emails when a notification popped up on my phone. It was from my father, James. For a fleeting moment, I thought he might be checking in, maybe asking about the big project I'd presented last week, or if I'd heard about the promotion I was up for. Something normal, something that recognized me as more than just a name on financial documents. But when the message loaded, I had to read it twice to process it. We've decided to cut all ties, stay out of our lives permanently. No context, no explanation, just a stark, emotionless declaration that I'd been cast out of the family I'd supported for 32 years. Before I could fully grasp it, my phone buzzed again. My younger sister, Leela, the family's golden child who thrived on chaos, had liked the message with a thumbs-up emoji. I sat in the break room, my sandwich forgotten, staring at that little thumbs-up. The fluorescent lights buzzed above me, and the smell of someone's reheated fish filled the air. Everything felt surreal, like I'd slipped into a parallel universe where my family could erase me with a text, and my sister would applaud it. My hands trembled as I typed a reply, not overthinking it like I usually would. I'll remove my name from all loans tomorrow. I hit send, turned off my phone, finished my meal, and went back to work. I had a client meeting at 3 p.m., and I wasn't about to let my family's latest drama derail my career the way it had upended everything else. I'd always been the responsible one. While Leela partied through college on our parents' dime, racking up debt and switching majors every semester, I worked 2 jobs to pay for my degree. When our mother, Diane, wanted to refinance the house for a lavish trip abroad, I co-signed because my credit was spotless, and theirs was a mess. When James decided he needed a truck he couldn't afford, guess who guaranteed the lease? And when Leela totaled her 3rd car, who took out a loan in their name because her credit was too ruined for any lender to touch? Me, the reliable daughter, signing papers, transferring money, asking for nothing but a shred of respect. I never got it. Instead, I endured years of jabs about my appearance, my career, my choice to stay single rather than settle for their approved suitors. Leela once said my outfits would ruin the vibe of family photos, so I was excluded. I was called selfish for not dropping everything to dog sit or drive hours to a distant cousin's event. Yet I kept showing up, signing, paying, because that's what family does, right? You help each other. Apparently, that rule only applied one way. On my drive home, I turned my phone back on, and it erupted with notifications. The family group chat, which I rarely used unless someone needed something from me, was on fire. I waited until I was parked at my apartment to check it. Leela, are you serious right now? Diane, Sophie, how could you threaten us like this? James, this is why we made this choice. You're spiteful. Leela again, I need my car, Sophie. I have a job. That last one almost made me laugh. Leela's job at a boutique was more of a hobby, with her calling in sick more often than she showed up. The texts kept coming, frantic, accusatory. Uncle Martin chimed in with his usual forgive and forget spiel. Aunt Clara sent praying hands emojis. Cousin Leo, who hadn't spoken to me in years, suddenly had opinions about my character. I scrolled through it all, feeling oddly detached. These people had just told me to disappear forever, and now they were furious because I'd agreed to cut the financial ties they'd tethered me with. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my banking app and started documenting everything. The house refinance was in my name, with James as the primary borrower because his debt-to-income ratio was too high to qualify a loan. The truck lease had my signature as a guarantor. Leela's car loan was entirely in my name, my SSN, because she defaulted on so many debts no lender would touch her. Diane had asked for a $20,000 personal loan 2 years ago for a kitchen renovation. I got it at a decent rate because of my credit, with $400 monthly payments auto-deducted from my account. She was supposed to pay me back. She made 3 payments before the excuses started. I'd been covering it all, protecting my credit while my dreams of homeownership slipped further away. The next morning, I was up at 7 a.m., coffee in hand, dressed in business casual with my laptop and a notepad of details. First, the house refinance. I called the lender at 10 a.m. sharp. The representative seemed uninterested until I explained I wanted to remove my name from the loan. Is the other borrower on board? She asked. Not my concern, I said. I'm ending my obligation. If he wants to keep the house, he'll need to refinance a loan. If he can't, it'll need to be sold. I was transferred to a supervisor, then to legal, and by the end, I understood the process. I could request removal, forcing a refinance or sale. James wouldn't qualify, so the house would likely be sold. I felt nothing, no guilt, no satisfaction, just resolve to stop sacrificing myself for others. The truck lease was simpler. I called the dealership, explained I was withdrawing as guarantor, and asked about their process. The finance manager wasn't thrilled but said if James couldn't find another guarantor or refinance, the truck would be repossessed. Send written notice, he said tightly. We'll reassess his qualifications without you. I drafted the letter before lunch. Leela's car was trickier. The loan was in my name. Legally, it was my car. She just drove it because I was helping her out. I paid the insurance, registration, everything. I could take it back. The thought gnawed at me as I ate lunch at my desk, scrolling through the escalating group chat. Diane said I was having a mental breakdown. James threatened to sue for financial abuse. Leela sent dozens of texts, from rage to begging and back. Uncle Martin wanted a family intervention call. Aunt Clara was now praying for my soul, hinting at demonic influence. But I felt calm, clear-headed for the first time in years. I called a college friend, Emma, now a family lawyer. Hypothetically, I asked, if someone co-signed loans for family and wants out, what's the best way? She laughed grimly. Sophie, is this about your family? I explained everything, decades of being used, the financial burdens, James's text, Leela's thumbs up. When I finished, she said, take the car, today, don't warn them, just get your property before they hide it or damage it. Document everything. If they try to sue, you'll need proof you've been more than fair. I left work early, citing a family emergency. Leela lived with our parents in the house I'd co-signed for, driving my car, working part-time when she felt like it. I knew her schedule. She'd be at work until 7 p.m., and our parents were out until at least 6. I had spare keys to the house and car, kept for emergencies. The neighborhood was quiet, familiar. I'd grown up nearby in a smaller house they'd sold to buy this one, because I co-signed. The car sat in the driveway, a gleaming silver sedan. I'd paid for it for 3 years. Insurance, registration, even Leela's speeding ticket that went to collections. I unlocked it, revealing a mess of food wrappers, makeup, and a stale cherry air freshener. I drove it to my apartment, parked it, and sent one message to the group chat. I've taken my car back. Leela, arrange other transportation. Then I muted the chat and went to my gym class. The fallout was explosive. When I returned, my phone was flooded, over 200 messages in the group chat. I'd been removed and re-added multiple times, presumably to punish me. Diane left voicemails about my cruelty. James threatened to report the car stolen. Leela posted on social media about narcissistic family betrayal. Uncle Martin tried a group video call, which I declined. Aunt Clara's church started a prayer chain for me. The only person who didn't contact me was my grandmother, Diane's mother, Edith, who lived in a retirement home in Arizona and stayed out of family drama. Then around 9 p.m., an unfamiliar number called. I almost ignored it but answered. Sophie, said a firm, elderly voice, Grandma Edith. She'd heard Diane's version, that I'd stolen Leela's car and was trying to ruin their lives. That doesn't sound like you, she said. Tell me your side. I nearly cried. Someone cared enough to ask. I laid it all out, the loans, the criticism, the exclusion, James's text, Leela's reaction. She listened quietly. When I finished, she said, your grandfather and I lent your mother $5,000 years ago. They never repaid a cent. When we asked, she said she thought it was a gift. Some people expect the world to owe them. Your mother's one, and she raised Leela the same. I'm sorry they treated you like a bank instead of a daughter. You're doing the right thing. We talked for 20 minutes. She shared stories of my grandfather, who valued financial independence, and asked about my life, my job, my apartment. Before we hung up, she said, I'm updating my will next week. I was splitting my estate between your mother and her brother, but I'm making changes. You deserve support, even if it's after I'm gone. I tried to protest, but she insisted, let an old woman do what she wants with her money. The next 2 weeks were a crash course in holding firm. I blocked Leela after her unhinged texts. Diane's calls went to voicemail. James sent a lawyer's letter, but it was empty threats. I hadn't broken any laws. The house refinance moved forward. James couldn't qualify a loan, so the sale process began. The truck lease resolved when James found a coworker to co-sign. Leela's car drama became a social media saga. She posted about her stolen car, ignoring that it was mine. She started a crowdfunding page for a new car, raising $300 before it fizzled. Diane and James bought her a used Civic, which she complained about online. Work became my refuge. I took on extra projects, mentored new hires, and earned praise from my boss. "You've stepped up, Sophie," she said. "Your name's on the promotion list." 3 months later, I got the promotion, senior account manager, with a 15% raise. The house sold, yielding $40,000 in equity. My lawyer ensured I got my $20,000 share, which James called vulture money. I forwarded his text to my attorney. Others started sharing their stories. My dental hygienist mentioned her brother's exploitation. A gym acquaintance said his girlfriend was drained by her family. Clara, from my book club, confided about her 32-year-old son living rent-free, demanding she co-sign a car loan. "I said no," she told me. "I'm giving him 60 days to move out." We toasted to being bad daughters and worse moms. The $20,000 personal loan for Diane's kitchen haunted me. I'd paid $9,000 of my own money on it. Suing wasn't worth it, so I stopped paying. My credit took a 60-point hit as the loan went delinquent, then to collections. I settled for $5,000 using house sale funds, saving $6,000 compared to paying it off. Diane never mentioned the missed payments. She hadn't cared once her kitchen was done. Leela's social media rants grew wilder, painting me as a jealous, controlling sister. She claimed the loans were gifts I was now stealing back. A former coworker called her out online, but Leela deleted it. I watched from my private profile, letting her narrative collapse under its own weight. Diane and James rented a smaller place. Leela moved with them, still blaming me. Some believed their story, but others, my old roommate, a former coworker, Emma, reached out with support. Therapy helped me grieve the family I deserved but never had. 6 months later, I ran into Leela's ex, Luca, at a coffee shop. He apologized for my family's treatment, confirming what I'd known. They'd used me without gratitude. "You're better off," he said. "You're living your life, you won." A year after James's text, I bought a 1-bedroom condo with a Parkview balcony. It was small, but mine. I hosted Clara and Emma for a housewarming, eating takeout on my new couch, toasting to choosing myself. The family chat sat muted in my phone, a relic of a life I'd left behind. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.